Dude, how Fender is that?
That's extra Fender.
It's so Fender.
I'd say that's like a 15 Fender on a scale of 1 to 14.
On a scale of 1 to 14, which
That's
is
a 15.
which is normally how we scale things. I mean, this is one of the most Fender guitars I've ever played, and actually,
Here's a button, if you can believe it.
This is a very special. Oh,
It really is, yeah.
Hey, welcome to the local pickup.
Welcome to the local pickup.
I'm Jason Broadwater.
I'm Chris Ray, I forgot to say.
Yeah, and Christian Ray, I forgot to say, I like your
Yeah.
new tagline there. It rhymes.
Have a good day.
And have a good day. Yeah. This is a very special guitar.
We should turn the AC off,
We should.
shouldn't we?
So anyway,
I'm so hot!
turn off the AC.
Oh God, I'm burning alive.
This is an extremely special guitar. This is a Mustang, Fender Mustang, and it was made in 1964.
That's back there.
Way back there. But what makes it special is the Fender Mustang was created in 1964, and the first ones that were put out were in August of 1964. Well, this guitar, according to the date stamp on the neck and the body, was from August 8th,
Wow.
1964.
So it's like one of the
the first Mustangs ever made.
back to school 1964.
Yeah.
Mustang. Get on the
Mustang
bus.
Sally. This is Sally.
Mustang. That's Mustang Sally. That's
And
her.
this is actually the original Sally, Mustang Sally.
She's aged well.
Yeah. This guitar is original down to the last screw.
That is that's a Fender Mustang.
Dude, I'm telling you, everything, all the frets, the screws, everything on this guitar is original.
It's all Mustang. I can
It's
tell by
all
looking at it.
straight up Mustang. and it was made in 1964, which is a special year because not only was this one of the first Mustangs ever made, Leo sold the company in January '65. So this guitar was actually made in the factory where Leo Fender and his employees and like the business they ran before they sold it to CBS.
Oh, wow. Okay,
and it became
yeah.
like one of the biggest,
Yeah, a year before.
Yeah, in January. This was made in August of '64, and they sold in January '65. And this was the first month that they made Mustangs. I mean, to get a Telecaster or a Strat that was made in Leo's shop is going to be
Good luck.
$40,000.
Yeah. He must be Wayne Gretzky.
I mean, seriously, $35,000, $40,000, and some of the Strats that were made in the early or Telecasters that made early on are $130,000.
Yeah.
So to spend a few $1,000s and get a
That's
guitar
crazy.
that was made
It's from then.
in
It's
Leo's
from there.
shop, yeah. It's really neat, man. And this guitar is 100% original, down to every screw. It's just really, really, really cool. There's the Music Master that they came up with because they wanted to do a student guitar, right? In the 50s, they were like, all these kids that are coming in to learn how to play the guitar need something to buy. And the Telecaster and the Stratocaster were expensive because they were professional guitars, type guitars. So they came up with the Music Master, and it was like the student level guitar. And then they came up with another student level guitar, and then as the 50s went on, and then it got into the 60s, and then they decided, you know what, we're going to make a kind of high level student guitar. We're going to consolidate those designs, everything we've learned from it, we're going to make a single guitar, and they made the Mustang.
The intermediate.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah, I guess you call it that, yeah. Still short scale. They got the 2 pickups. Now these switches, man, so check this out. So I got them both forward, right? Now I put them both backwards. Now, if I have them both backwards or both forwards, they're in phase together. But if you switch one forward and one backwards, they go out of phase from one another. See how it takes on a weird, almost like a pedal? And then you got an overall volume and an overall tone. And it's funny that it would be a student guitar, or kind of like you said, it was a move up to an intermediate guitar, and for it to now have a sound that you almost can't, like, people covet and try to replicate.
It's crazy to think about. Yeah.
And then it got popular, you know, of course, in the grunge era.
Yeah.
Because, man, you could find them cheap because they were considered student guitars, and people after-marketed them all the time. They would change their pickups, change the bridge, and so it's so rare to find a completely 100% original of these, because since they were cheap, people felt free to just Frankenstein the crap out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and that was the thing, man. That was the thing, and that's what, like, Kurt Cobain did, and like those kinds of folks.
Yeah, I guess, and I'm young enough that I don't remember the non-Strat, non-Telecaster Fender previous to that era. So for me, it feels like that era of Nirvana and Sonic Youth was where the sort of the non-Strat, non-Telecaster Fender appeared.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
To me, it feels that way.
And it would to us, because we came up in that era. And I'm sure people, you know, older people have the stories about Jazz Masters or Jaguars of being kind of not Strats and not Tellies that we aren't even exposed to. Yeah. But like what we know is that, I mean, they were basically playing pawn shop guitars, and we could relate to that. You know, that was the whole point.
That eventually would become the coolest kinds of, the sort of most hip kind of guitars.
And actually that is a repeat of all the early rock and roll people playing silver tones and harmonies and stuff. Like, they were the cheap guitars that you could afford to play.
Yeah.
So, let me say this. Can you see that?
Can you see that? I can see that I can have eyes.
Silent Micah, who controls all cameras in the world.
Computer enhance. What's that pick doing?
If you're not busy reading people's minds, can you look at this pick real quick? So this was given to us, made for us, by a super cool company out in California called Gravity Picks. This is an acrylic pick that was made for us with our logo on it. It's fantastic. It's indestructible. It sounds great. It's bright.
Yes.
It's like a Mustang.
It really fits with that guitar.
It's so fit.
Which I personally want to endorse these picks, because I don't know what it is. From the day I picked up a guitar, if I used an acrylic pick or whatever, I would one song, and I would look down and there would be acrylic dust on the guitar, and the pick would be at my thumbs, and it's just the way I play, and it's incorrect or whatever, I don't know.
It's glorious.
I've always had to use nylon picks, even though inherently I wanted to play like harder picks. This is the first pick I've ever played with that doesn't care, man. Just lets me shred all day and doesn't miss a beat.
It lasts, man. So anyway, very cool. So this is a 1964 Fender Mustang, super special guitar.
5 years before I got my first real 6-string and played it till my fingers bled.
Fingers bled, yeah. Yeah, anyway, pretty cool.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah, well, you heard it here. Very cool.
You heard it right there.
You heard it from him.
VC, very cool.
Right, that's an abbreviation.
Oh, jeez. Hit the VC button.
R.
Hit the VCR. Turn off your VCRs now.
Yeah. We bet on Beta. Our family never recovered from that.
B.O.B.
We were, it came down to VCR Beta. We thought, got to pick one. Yeah, we put everything in that, but
I'm younger, so I bet on HD DVD.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess we'll see you next time on the Local Pickup.